Having a firm grasp on the way the people in your area live will ensure you have the knowledge necessary to effectively use the natural resources in your area. Welcome to Prepper Friday. I'm Gray Madden from Self-Reliance Publishing, and in this video I want to talk a little bit about the importance of having an understanding of the lifestyle of the people that were native to your area. The big benefit here is if you have knowledge of their lifestyle and the way they live their daily life, you're going to have a firm grasp of your area's natural resources and how to use them effectively. So if you study the tribe that was local to your area, you'll learn about what kind of plants they use for food and medicinal purposes. You'll learn about what kind of agriculture they had, if any, what kind of wildlife was important to them, and the weapons and traps they used to take that wildlife, and how to make those weapons and traps, utilizing the resources that are available to you in your area. You'll know what kind of transportation they use, if they used boats, if it was all on foot, what kind of pack baskets they used, etc., etc. How they got themselves and their things from point A to point B. Also know what they use for clothing and shelter, and all of this is going to teach you about your area's natural resources, and it's going to be tailored to meet the conditions of your climate in your particular locality. So the clothing and the shelters that they use down in Florida are going to be drastically different from what the indigenous people use up in New York or Maine. The Indians down in Florida, their clothing and their shelters are going to be designed to keep them as cool as possible, whereas ones up in New York are going to be designed to keep them as warm as possible. So on one hand, you're learning about the area's natural resources, but at the same time, you're also learning how to use them as effectively as possible in your particular environment. Now, obviously, things change with time. So you may find that there's a certain resource that was heavily relied on by the Indians that is no longer an option to us today. An example of that would be buffalo. There were many tribes that the majority of their livelihood, what they ate, came from hunting buffalo. They used the hides for both clothing and shelter, and the meat was a majority of what they ate. Obviously, buffalo is no longer a real option for anybody today. While they're not extinct, there's nowhere near the numbers that there used to be at that time. So you may run into two cases where the resources that they had were no longer available. But you can still glean little things from other parts of their lifestyle that you can learn from and implement. At the same time, there might also be some resources that are available in your area now that weren't around back in their time. So you're definitely going to have to tweak things, but if you study the tribes that were native to your area and learn how they lived their life, that will give you a solid foundation that you can start from. And then you can learn from other people groups, learn from the knowledge that we have today that they didn't have back then, and just make little tweaks. But if you understand how they lived, that is a good foundation to start from. Obviously, even if there was a collapse, we're not going to revert back to the lifestyle of the Indians, and I'm not suggesting that would even remotely happen, but still understanding the resources that they use can only help us. Hopefully this video has given you some ideas and maybe sparked an interest, something to study. I'd like to go into some of these topics in greater detail in future videos as I learn more about the Indians that were native to my area here in the Piedmont of North Carolina. But as always, I appreciate every like, every comment, and every subscribe. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.